Okay, rolling podcast in 3, 2, 1.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to our very first Two Naive Musicians podcast. The podcast where we
Talk about why we're doing a podcast, but only in this episode because it wouldn't make sense to talk about that every week.
roll music.
So, podcast number 1. Today, we just kind of thought we would go over a couple things, like why we're doing the podcast, some brief introductions to talk about who we are, and yeah, just kind of give you guys a feel of what we're trying to accomplish with this, and hopefully get you guys interested to listen to more. So, Bret, anything to add?
Yeah, so I think I'll just jump right into it here, why we're doing a podcast and why they should listen to us.
Yeah, do that.
So this podcast is going to be pretty interesting. I've listened to a few podcasts, musicians podcasts, and I find that usually they're either talking about the technical side, like how to do stuff, what to do on tour, and they'll be interviewing musicians, either that or it's like a personal thing. But the nice thing about what we're doing with our podcast is it's going to be a little bit of both. Our name, Two Naive Musicians Podcast, is kind of a joke a little bit because it's like, on one hand, we know what we're talking about, but on the other hand, there's a lot of experiences we still have yet to experience.
Yeah.
And so this podcast is basically two things. It's about what we've learned and what we can share with you guys, and it's also about people joining us on our journey as we learn more things and we reach milestones in our careers and we get to do more things with music. And it's going to be great to be able to share that with you guys and with, everybody who gets to listen to our music. And it's just going to be really interesting experience, hopefully.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. We're wanting to kind of bring in, as we learn things, bring all that information to you guys, give you guys tips and advice on becoming a professional musician, on just becoming a locally renowned or whatever, and just being able to play music with people you enjoy playing music with. One of the big things is we're going to kind of tell stories of things that we have experienced because we're both 22. I've been playing for about 7 years. Bret, you've been 8?
8 or 9.
Yeah, 8 or 9.
So
we've been playing for a while. We've been playing with other people. We've kind of been a part of the scene for a while in bands and all that. So this is kind of just, we're going to explain stories. We talk about high school musicians, and if you're in high school listening to this, we want to talk a lot about like what we wish
should have done.
Yeah, what we wish we did in high school. It's not too late for you.
Or us. Or anyone. If you're in your 30s, it's not too late, dude.
Yeah. I mean, like there's always an opportunity to make it, to make it. There's always an opportunity to become the professional or to get to where you want to be musically, whether that's being playing with big artists, playing in just a band with just a couple friends, or somewhere in between.
Whatever success means for you.
So this podcast, we're going to be talking a lot about that, documenting. Bret went over that. Some of the main goals and things that we want to do with the podcast. We want to feature and shout out awesome musicians that we see on like Instagram and everything. So we do have an Instagram for this podcast. So if you guys want to follow us there, that would be the best place to kind of shout out your own name, so then we can see who you are and maybe shout you out on the podcast, put you in our description and all that. Because I think great musicians need to be heard. And there's the great thing about the internet nowadays is there's so many opportunities to just share music with people and for everybody to have an opportunity to get out there. So
it's a blessing and a curse, but we'll have a whole episode about that later.
That's later down the line. Another thing we're going to talk a lot about, we're going to put in a segment, our top 3 favorite albums, songs, artists, whatever, heavy rotation, what we've been listening to for the week. In future podcasts, we're probably going to put that at the beginning, I'd say. And then, so we'll start out, do the intro, and then we'll have that, our top 3 for the week. And we'll put all the links, the Spotify links down in the description so you guys can check out all those songs or albums or whatever. And then we also want to, we just want to encourage you guys. I know it was hard for me, especially starting out, because it felt like, it just seemed like such a big mountain to climb, and it felt like there was nobody out there trying to help you. And so one of the things we kind of wanted to do with this podcast is be like, hey, we want you to succeed. We want you to become the best you can be, and we want to walk with you on that journey. We want to share our experience, any tips we have, anything we can do to help you guys get there. After a while, we're going to start doing like a Q&A section so you guys can ask us questions about us, about our opinions on things, whatever. If you're like, oh, I'm in this band and I blah, 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 you can ask us questions and we can give you our best opinions, our best answers as to how we would respond in the situation. If you're like looking at buying new gear, we can give you our take on stuff like that. Just really, we just want to be a tool for the average musician, but we're not Tool.
No, we are not Tool. We're tools, but we are not Tool.
No.
But yeah, all that being said, welcome aboard. Let's learn a little bit about Ryan today.
Yeah. So yeah, my name's Ryan Halverson. If you guys want to keep up with me a little bit, you can follow me on Instagram, like my page on Facebook, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'll have links to all of that below, and likewise, all of Bret's stuff will be down there as well. So yeah, I'm Ryan, and I play bass. I play the electric bass, and I play upright bass, not as well as I used to. I started in high school, and I've kind of let it go.
Yeah, you don't lose it. You don't use it, you lose it.
Yeah,
you know?
Especially with the upright.
It's not like rock bands, metal bands have you playing upright all the time.
No. Yeah, and especially like everything I listen to, most of what I listen to is not upright bass heavy. But yeah, so I play the electric bass. I much prefer playing a 4-string. That's just a personal preference. I have a 5-string that I play, and there's different situations that call for different instruments. So you kind of just need to know how to do what you got to do for the gig. But yeah, so play the bass, and most of what I listen to. So quick history lesson. In high school, I was a huge classic rock
Yeah,
kid.
like what bands? A few.
Oh, yeah.
I know, but they don't know.
Right, yeah. So for all of you who don't know, one of the big ones, I think one of the first the first bands that I got really into was the Eagles.
Yep.
Okay, if you probably heard the Eagles. If you haven't, you should. They're really good.
Oh, everyone knows the Eagles.
Yeah, everybody knows the Eagles. But so Eagles, Queen, Journey. Who else? The Police, Aerosmith. So I got like really into like 80s rock, and then a lot of
ELO.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
ELO,
super good. And then also listening to a lot of Motown and everything, which I still love Motown. That's kind of fused into my R&B listening. But so nowadays, as I've let my horizon broaden,
Your horizons broaden.
I've broadened my musical horizons.
There it is.
Yeah. As I've done that, I've started to listen to things that I would have never let myself be caught listening to. So I've been listening to a lot more pop, which high school me would probably crucify me for saying that.
Yeah.
Especially like not just like listening to it, but actually telling people.
I remember
that
one
they
time in
listened to
high
it.
school, we were in the lunch line.
Mm-hmm.
And then I said one time that rock and roll used to be like what pop music is now. Mm-hmm. And you got so mad.
I was so mad. I'm like,
so mad.
Oh, how could you say that? Rock and roll is not pop music. Rock and roll is real music.
Yeah, he stopped. He didn't talk to me like the rest of the day.
Yeah.
He was mad.
So if that gives you a little insight into how annoying we were those annoying kids that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've been listening to a lot more like pop rock stuff and a lot of top 40 stuff. I've been really getting into, and then I've been getting into the R&B, some more like the progressive jazz stuff. I've been really enjoying a lot of that, and then gospel music. If you are a bass player and you don't listen to gospel music, you're doing it wrong. Like the bass lines in those are crazy. Heck, everything's crazy. If you play any instrument, drums, keys, bass, if you sing, if you play guitar, and
it gets pretty wild.
Yeah,
if you're
not listening to those gospel chops, you're doing it wrong. It's so good. Oh my gosh. Yeah, and so as of right now, I am playing in a band called Highway 357. I kind of got into that band just like friend of a friend, kind of made some connections with people locally, and then kind of met with people, and then ended up getting an audition, and they liked me, so they let me in, and I've been playing with them now for like 5 or 6 months, I think. Yeah, about that. Yeah, so that's except for the band. We were in a band in high school.
Yeah.
But other than that,
wild card.
Yeah. Other than that, and like a cover band here or there, I don't really. That's pretty much as much band experience as I have. Bret has a lot more than I do. He's been in a couple groups.
Yeah, I've been since we were in a band. I mean, I've been in and out of bands for the last 6 years, 5 years. Mm-hmm. How long have we been out? Yeah, about 5 years.
Yeah, almost.
Almost 5. Yeah.
Crap.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So yeah, I've been in and out of bands for that whole time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, is it my turn or what?
No.
You still got to talk about yourself?
I have one more thing, Bret.
All right, let's hear it.
Let's
hear it.
Hold back. Yeah, and so last thing, just kind of my musical goals, what I'm looking at doing. I really want to be able to make a living playing music and doing a lot of the like social media influencer kind of stuff. So with my YouTube, Instagram, and all that. And just being able to play my bass and enjoy playing bass and make a living doing that, a living where I can support my family and all that. A big thing that I've always wanted to do is I want to be, like my main musical goal is I want to be a session musician. So whether that's playing like a studio session musician or a touring session musician, like if Charlie Puth or Demi Lovato or somebody called me
Ariana Grande.
Oh yeah. Oh,
I know you love Ariana Grande. You should
just a little.
You should love Ariana Grande.
But like if any of like those like the top 40s or even like there's a lot of like smaller groups that you can pretty much that you find on like Spotify and stuff that I'd be super down to play with too. But like if one of them called me up and like, oh, we want you to play with us on a summer tour, like that would be so cool. That's kind of what I'm shooting for. And then being a studio musician where I go in, someone's trying to record a song and like, oh, I need a bass, and I'm like, oh yeah, I can do that for you, ba-doom, but like an octave lower, but I can't. Yeah, I can't do
Stop
it.
Right. Quit while you're here.
Okay. Yeah. So that's me. Take it or leave it. But please take it.
Yeah, please. We need your listens. Give us your listens, please.
Give us your ears for just a few minutes.
But yeah, for me, I mean, Ryan and I kind of started out in the same place.
What's your name, Bret?
Oh, what's my name, Bret?
Yeah, what's your name, Bret?
My name is Bret. And so my name is Bret. And Ryan and I started in the same place back in high school. We were cringy classic rock kids. I used to wear a fedora and a shark tooth necklace.
Oh my gosh,
and
you
then,
totally did.
Yeah. And it was bad. I didn't listen to any pop music. I rebuked it. I hated it. And I wasn't really a metal guy either.
I think the closest that you got, like, that either of us got outside of classic rock was like
Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Well, like jazz band when they did like what is it, Gordon Goodwin's Big Fat Band.
That was like I like jazz. I like jazz. I just didn't like.
But that was like as far as we'd go out of classic rock.
It's funny because like I mean, if you knew what I listen to now, like me saying, "Oh, screaming is just noise."
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, in high school, I was just a cringy classic rock kid, and then as I went on, my friends all listened to all the metalcore bands that were big when I was in high school, like Of Mice and Men, Woe Is Me, Issues, Memphis Mayfire, Asking Alexandria, and they were really into metalcore, and I loved it. Actually, after a while, at first I really didn't like it, but I just intrigued me. It just intrigued me how like brutal it would get, and then how like the stark contrast between how brutal it would get, and then it had a really catchy chorus and like cool guitars, and I just loved that. So now, I mean, I still listen to that kind of stuff, and I still love classic rock, but these days I'm really into like a lot of instrumental bands like Chon, Pliny, Polyphia, Intervals, those bands, and I really like a lot of progressive metal like Monuments and Periphery and those kinds of bands.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've been playing guitar since I was about 13 or 14, which is if I could have done it over a little sooner, I would have done it a little sooner, but I've been playing guitar for a while, and I've just been in and out of bands, and I've played with classic rock bands, I played with jazz bands, I played with metal bands.
How many bands have you been in? So we had our band in high school.
Four?
We kind of had two bands. Like we had the one band that was like not even a band, and then we had our like wild card, our band.
Yeah.
And then so after that,
I've been in about 4 bands.
About 4?
I think so, yeah. Most recently, I was in a band, Vita Occulta. It was a great experience, and but now I'm in this band, Susano. We're instrumental. We have a few songs per album that are going to have vocals, but for the most part, it's going to be kind of a cool thing. The only other artist I know of that really does that, I know Strawberry Girls does that. They're another instrumental band that throws vocals on. And then this guy by the name of David Maxim, I can never pronounce his last name, Maitzik. And what they'll do is they'll have a whole album where it's just instrumental, and then like 1 or 2 songs that just have vocals. And that should be pretty cool. But it's just going to be kind of like catchy, kind of shreddy guitars, kind of happy vibe. But it's not going to be too like heavy metal, brutal kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But that's where I'm at musically right now.
Nice.
And pretty stoked to see where it goes. And I mean, you guys out there will be the first to know how it succeeds, how it fails.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Part of the fun of this thing. So
yeah, and you guys just dropped your band name, huh? Or just announced the whole project?
Yeah, just recently. In fact, we should be coming out with something here pretty soon. Just keep your ears peeled.
Yeah.
Your ears.
Yeah,
peeled.
we'll have links to Bret's band on Facebook and a link to my band on Facebook as well, so you guys can go check us out there. Okay, yeah. So yeah, we're gonna end this episode early. So we're gonna try to shoot for.
Oh, hold on, we still have to give our
yeah, I know.
Oh.
Yeah, so we're gonna shoot for these podcasts. We're gonna shoot for a 30-minute episode. In this episode, our topic was pretty much why we're doing the podcast, and we kind of exhausted that with brief intros of ourselves. So we're going to pull this one a little bit early, but before we do that, we wanted to go over our top 3 for the week, talk about those a little bit. And like I said earlier, in future episodes, this is going to be put in right after the intro, so you guys can look forward to that. And then all the links to everything that we talk, or our bands for our top. The links for our top 3 bands, top 3 songs, albums, or all that, we're going to have Spotify links in the description, so you guys can find those all there and give those a listen. So, Bret, what have you been listening to this week?
All right. Well, Monuments has been dropping some new music.
Mm-hmm.
For those of you who don't know, Monuments is a genty metal band. They're
a gentle band.
A gentle band.
It's a gentle band.
Yeah. For those of you who don't know what gent is, we'll have probably at least half a podcast about what gent is.
A subtopic.
Subtopic of gent. Yes. But basically, they're a low-tuned metal band, and they've kind of made a transition. They have a little bit more clean singing these days, but they released a track that I really like called "Mirror Image," and it's a banger. And then I've also been listening to lots of Pliny because, again, he is probably my favorite guitarist right now. I would argue he's probably one of the best of our time.
Mm-hmm.
He's amazing. He
He's
composes it
super
all
good.
himself. He's just phenomenal. And then my last one's definitely got to be Hail the Sun. Just everything they've released on Mental Knife so far has just been killer.
Is Mental Knife an album?
Yeah, so basically what they're doing is they have the album and then they're just releasing singles,
Okay.
periodically. And I think, in my opinion, I think that's the way to do it, in this day and age of music. But we can go over promotion and we can go over, release schedule and timing and all that. We can go over that in a different episode. But I just think it's a great way to go about it. So, yeah, Monuments, Mirror Image, Pliny, the whole Kind EP is excellent. And Hail the Sun, Mental Knife, everything so far has been awesome.
Nice.
What about you, Ryan? What you been listening to?
So this week I've been listening to the album Hands All Over by Maroon 5 pretty heavily. Like I haven't actually listened to, I never really listened to Maroon 5. Like I listened to a couple of their hits in high school every once in a while. But yeah, like I started playing this album for, I don't even know why I started playing it, but I was just like, oh, I'm going to listen to Maroon 5 today. And I've been listening to that all week long. Like literally I've been
Maroon 5 was sick.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
This is, so Hands All Over is like 2010 Maroon 5. It's super good. And then so my second one that I've been listening to is this album called Living Room by the band Lawrence. It's a newer album. I think they dropped it like 2 or 3 weeks ago. And it's super good. It's like this really cool like jazz, soul rock. I can't really explain it. It's you guys just have to listen to it. It's super cool. All the people in that band are super talented and they're just really great at what they do. And yeah, they're awesome. And then the last thing, I've been listening to this song called Lost by this guy named Grayson Word. So I'll have I'll have all that down below. But that I made you listen to that song, didn't I?
It was pretty tight.
Yeah.
It was pretty tight. The guitar was really nice.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's just because I'm a guitar player, but that's one of the first things I listen to, no matter what it is just how cool or at least thought out the guitar is. Doesn't have to do anything crazy.
What? That's what I do with the bass.
Well, it's probably because you play bass. Or if you quit bass, then, you'd probably be doing everyone a favor.
Oh, okay. Well, that's all the time we have for... I'm just... Next week, you won't hear Bret.
Or Ryan playing bass.
Okay. You went too far. Yeah. Also, if you guys like the intro music, that's something that we did. We recorded all that ourselves, so I'm playing bass on that. All those leads are Bret's guitar. So if you guys like that, then thanks.
Tell us you like it and boost our self-esteem.
Yeah. Cool. So I guess that's how we're gonna wrap it up for this podcast. If you guys enjoy the podcast, just subscribe to us on iTunes. I think that's a thing. I think you can, subscribe to our podcast on whatever platform you're listening to, iTunes, Spotify, another podcast listener that I don't know about. Go ahead. We're going to be we have a page on Facebook. We have a Instagram page and YouTube. So you can go ahead and go and listen to like us on all those and follow us on all those. And so you guys know, if you're listening to this in your car, just like on your headphones or whatever, on YouTube, we actually have a video version of this podcast. So you can watch the whole thing. Just kind of watch us talking. So
it's not any different, except you get to see us.
Yeah, how we're actually reacting
with our hands while we're talking. Do these overacting movements.
If you're watching the video, you're seeing me move my hands weirdly. Don't watch the video. Don't. Run while you can. So that's pretty much it for this podcast. If you guys have questions, you guys can DM them to us on Instagram, or leave them in the comments of the YouTube video version of this. And so
thank you so much for listening. This is the Two Naive Musicians podcast,
where we become a little bit less naive every day.
Take care.
Bye now.
See you later.
Have a good week.
Hasta luego.
Okay, bye.